Well, family, once again, is on this 6th day of December. Community conversations in full effect. Yours truly, Joe Dupree, 100 BLK, the Black Station. Our new website is up and running. You can check us out. Let me go ahead and put this up here. You can definitely check us out. Go right now to www.the100blk.com. Check us out. We've got a lot of great content, things that we will be talking about on tonight's show, including there are some prior community conversations, yours truly, along with I would not be on the scene if I did not have my brother from another mother representing NYC WBLS, my man, brother Frontier.
What's going on, brother Joe? Brother Joe, you looking good, man. You looking sharp, man. Every morning you putting out a different picture, posing. I'm like, whoa, this brother is doing his thing. So way to go, my brother. Way to go.
Listen, we're in the building, and tonight we got another great show for you. I'm actually posting some things, putting it out there to certain folks so that they can, be a part of all the great conversation. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Share this with a friend. Once again, it's on. That's all I can say. Once again, it's straight up on. Tonight, we're going to have some great conversation. We're going to be talking about did you know? Because there's some things I think really you don't know. So I'm going to ask you, did you know? And should parents be held responsible? We're going to talk about that, especially after the tragic shooting in the school in Michigan where the parents are being held responsible. And how are you closing out 2021? Last but not least, as you see me, I'm in a Southern University pullover. Got my hoodie on, my Southern University hoodie. Got my hoodie on. Representing the Southern University, and HBCU in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, part of the SWAC. Just brought in a new coach, Coach Eric Dooley. Of course, everybody in the HBCU land is talking about the success of Coach Deion Sanders, very well known as Coach Prime, doing his thing at Jackson State University as they get ready to go and play for the National Black College Championship called the Celebration Bowl on the 18th of December in Atlanta, Georgia, against the South Carolina State Bulldogs. That's where you at right now, South Carolina.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
So,
sir.
We're going to talk about that, social media, and so much more. So, Fatim, how's your week been, brother?
Been pretty good, fighting off a little cold, but other than that, nothing, no COVID. So that's the main thing with this damn new variant out here. It's crazy. But I just want to comment really quick on Deion Sanders. Of course, you see, I got one of his teams, and you got to realize that he played for two American teams, considered American teams. Either you love or you hate the Cowboys. I understand that. I got that. I got that. But I also understand he played for the New York Yankees at the same time. Another Bo Jackson. And you got to realize that it's not easy to play two sports. I mean, you could be athletic to play two sports, but to play two sports that the seasons interlap, and you got to realize when the Yankees made the playoff, the football season was in. So Deion Sanders had to get approval from the Dallas Cowboys to play in the playoffs with the New York Yankees. So he's done such great work. But what Deion Sanders can do, and something that you said that happened this week about the late coach Eddie Robinson, is that what Deion Sanders can do, because now we're hearing all these Division I schools may want him as a coach, but what he may need to do is put together a coalition of other Black coaches to come into HBCUs and take them to the next level, because a lot of people sugar honey iced tea on them, and they don't get the recognition that they should get. One or two, some of the superstars were going for the Heisman Trophy. But maybe you need to, because that's what Deion has done in a short period of time, is taking that team to that level. And Black coaches have been overlooked. And it's time to send a message. Maybe, Colin Kaepernick did it this way and took a knee, but it's waking up other people. Deion Sanders was always a woke brother. He did it his way, but he understands the system and what is Black folks are against the system. So here is time for him to be a trendsetter, which he's always been a trendsetter. And maybe he will continue to walk in that light and lead so many other brothers and sisters through that light.
Man, that was powerful. Coach Prime, like him or not like him, the man went through the SWAC like a hot knife through butter and didn't lose to nobody. So at the end of the day, and it's been a long time since Jackson State has had a winning season. However, I'm very proud of my good friends in Jackson, Mississippi. I'm proud of the rebirth, the reemergence of HBCU love in Jacktown. And I'm very proud. I know the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi is very happy to all the attention and the commerce and the money that have been coming into Jackson, Mississippi due to Deion Sanders. So, big ups to Deion, big ups to I love Jackson State Tigers. And I hope they beat South Carolina State, because I want the National Black Championship to be here in the SWAC, because the SWAC is where it's going on. I really believe that the SWAC's got it going on. I myself attended a SWAC school for grad school, Grambling State University, which is home of Doug Williams, home of Eddie Robinson, home of many, many great NFL players that have played on Sunday, went through the Grambling State University. So, and that might be something that you didn't know. Did you know that there are a lot of great players? Jerry Rice, Michael Strahan, who's getting ready to go into space, graduated from an HBCU in the SWAC, Texas Southern University.
Yep, just had his number retired for the New York Giants. Last week.
Yeah. So
Hall of Famer.
Right, Hall of Famer. So Mel Blount from the Steel Curtain from my Pittsburgh Steelers, graduate of the Southern University. So there's been some great people. The first Black quarterback ever to win a Super Bowl, graduated from the Grambling State University.
Williams,
yeah, man. So if in case you didn't know, HBCU's been had it going on.
Oh, they did.
It's just now with the resurgence and the HBCU love. Our vice president went to HBCU and is a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, and graduated from Howard University there in DC. So much love to all my HBCUs, all of them, all over the place. We're going to get into probably some Harry Carey conversation. Especially when we start.
Did you know? I know. See, y'all. See, Joe comes with this lineup, and I love it. I don't have a problem, but I love to throw him a curveball once in a while, and I definitely want to get into what he wants to talk about, and we're going to talk about. But since we're into sports, real quick, and I know I don't want to bore people.
Oh, come on.
Barry Bonds. Let's go. Should he be elected into the Hall of Fame? He was never found guilty of using steroids. He used the cream that had a material in it, and he said he didn't know, but he is never caught with anything they injected. And even though the one jury found him guilty on the cream, they overturned that. So my question is, and you got to realize that the owners turned their head in the beginning of the steroid era, when, remember, baseball went on strike in the 80s. So a lot of baseball fans were not coming back to baseball. So all of a sudden they said the ball was juice. Oh, the players was juice, and the ball started flying out of the park. People that had 12 home runs were averaging 30, 35 home runs a year. I remember Brian Anderson for the Baltimore Orioles. He had 30 some home runs. But at the end of the day, you got Barry Bonds coming up. You got A-Rod coming up. A-Rod's a little different. I want to talk about Barry Bonds, who is the home run king of Major League Baseball. A lot of people say because of his being tainted by that steroid era, that Hank Aaron is still honestly the home run king of Major League Baseball. But my question to you real quick is, should Barry Bonds be in the Hall of Fame?
Tainted Schmated, I'm going to go with Dr. Quentin Briscoe, and he says Barry Bonds needs to be in. Put him in. Put him in. Put him in. Put him in. I'm just saying. Put him in. Hey, the man did what he did. They tell me you ain't playing baseball if you ain't cheating. Ask one pitcher with the last name Negro.
Tell you about it, baby.
They said, wait a minute. Is that a knife you have? Is that some type of box cutter you have that you're doing something with this knuckleball? What are you doing? Come on, family. The truth about it is, listen, everybody got secrets until they get caught. Let's just call it what it is. Everybody. Lottie-dottie, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's got
just wanted your opinion real quick.
I'm just saying. You know, it depends on who you are and how you look at it. But I say put them in. Put them in. Yeah, put them in.
Yeah, the stellar career. I think Pete Rose, it's not just a black thing. I think Pete Rose done his time of being suspended from baseball.
Him in. Put Pete in. Put him in.
Pete honestly may be, you know, he is one of the best baseball players that I've ever seen. He played a game in my era. Between him and Barry, Charlie Hustle, man, is one of the best. That he's in the top 5 in the game. It's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's the top 5 of the best ever played the game, and he's pretty much 1, 2, or 3. You know, so
put him in. So let's get into the show, family.
Yes, sir.
How you doing? Tell a friend, tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell another friend. Share this with a friend. We got some great conversation we're getting into tonight. To be exact, let me pull up. What are we? Okay, so this within the last 10 days, of course, one of the stories that has been big in the news outside of this new variant that is showing up all over the place. A cruise ship pulled into New Orleans, which is about 2 hours from where I'm actually at right now. And a lot of folks were infected with coronavirus. They said that one of the individuals had the new variant. But one of the other things that we haven't talked about is this tragic shooting in Michigan in the school. A good friend of mine who's in law school, and another good friend of mine that teaches at law school, says that they have a strange feeling that the way the prosecutor is prosecuting this kid's parents and holding them accountable for purchasing the weapon may go all the way to the Supreme Court. Because you got to understand, once this go through, all of a sudden people can start saying the following: due to this case that we can show how the judge ruled here, we need to hold parents accountable for X, Y, or Z. So I need to ask the question, and Fatim, how do you feel about that? Do you feel in some instances parents should be held for what their children do when their children are not adults and still living under the household of the parents?
I think it needs to be on a case-by-case basis. I'm not going to start throwing a broad blanket over, because some parents cannot control their kids. You could tell your kids what and what not to do, and they go out there and do it. In this case, the parents are liable. They are part of the problem. I thought that the father went out and purchased a gun for himself, and then the kid, 15-year-old teenager, went out there and hijacked or got to the gun, and then brought it to school. No, the father purchased a gun for a minor, a 15-year-old boy, son, that the parents got a call Friday that they needed to come to the school. So you already know that there was an issue because the mother already said to the kid, I'm not upset. I'm upset. You just got to next time know how not to get caught. Then the day of the shooting, before he did the shooting, the parents were in the school and the guidance counselors were concerned about some of his writings and drawings of bullets and blood and people being shot. So they wanted the parents to take him home. And the parents refused to take him home, basically said they were at work. So the guidance counselors decided, you know what, instead of sending him home, we'll send him back to class because he doesn't have no prior record of any outburst or whatever. And then, sometime later that morning, he loaded that gun and began to shoot people. And he had more ammunition until the cops got there, and he didn't unload all of the ammunition. So this is a very simple one. The father purchased that gun. The mother and the father showed malice and contempt, and the prosecutors did the right thing. And how do we know they did the right thing? The parents went on the run.
Right. Now let's look at what Rhonda just said. I like the way you said that. Rhonda said something, and yes, in some instances they should be held accountable. These parents were complicit in the doing of the child's action, and the child stated, what he stated. Family. The truth about the matter is, I even believe that if the father had purchased the gun for himself, as a responsible gun owner, you have to know how to, with children being in your household, how to properly stow away a weapon and to make it that even if your child does get a hold of the weapon, they cannot use the weapon, load the weapon, or discharge the weapon to cause bodily harm to somebody else. I really believe that even if he had bought the weapon for himself, if he did not properly stow the weapon away and lock the weapon up or have a safety lock on it that only he could get to, and one of his children or a child had got a hold of it, I feel he's still responsible. That's just me, because I have a big problem. And there's going to be some people who are going to look at this and say, oh, wait a minute, what about my Second Amendment rights to bear arms? I'm not infringing on anybody's rights to bear arms. What I am saying is, you need to be held accountable and responsible when you have something in your possession that can cause bodily harm to another individual. For example, you don't need a license to buy a weapon in the United States of America. Now, you might need a license to conceal it. You might need a license to carry it concealed, but you don't need a license to purchase it. So watch this. You need a license to drive a vehicle. Yeah. You need an actual permit to drive a vehicle. In some cases, especially for younger generations, you had to go through driver's ed before you even got that permit. You had to know some laws of what was going on. And there with the lights. You had to know some laws of what was going on before you were able to drive. So family, I the question is, with this now being in place, will they start holding other folks' parents responsible when other things begin to happen that may cause bodily harm or death? Because at the end of the day, even though we're talking about these two parents and we're talking about this one child, what about the 4 victims and now the 8 parents? Because there were 4 victims who died.
4 died and 8 other injured.
Right. So let's talk about the 4 that died and the 8 that were injured, and how now their families will have to go through a holiday and adjustments in life because of what occurred.
Throw the book at their ass. It's very simple. This is easy. This is not hard. This is not hard for them to prosecute. If they said, you can indict a ham sandwich. So I think they'll be able to come back with an indictment. They may try to use some type of insanity case on this kid, but that's not going to work. This is an easy case, and I just can't see where he's not found guilty. I don't know where the mother is, how far the mother will be liable, but with the father purchasing the gun, he has direct, input in the sense of purchasing that gun. And I think that with the involuntary manslaughter, he's going to be found guilty on something. This is not a hard case.
Right, right.
Yeah, it's not a hard case. Not really much to say on this one.
And I think also with the mother, with her saying, "Look, I'm not mad at you. You just don't get caught." I think she carries some liability there because that's a rough statement.
They're reckless as parents.
That's a rough statement. That's just like, for example, I was reading to see what else was going on. They had a case in Cleveland where a little girl who was 14 years old. She went to her mother because some other 14-year-old girls jumped on her, and her mom said, "Well, I'm 14 years old too today," and went and fought the little girls, and mama got in trouble because they were like, "Wait a minute, these are children fighting. Now you're an adult fighting."
That's the same mother?
Yeah. No. This is a different scenario. This is actually an African American mother whose daughter got beat up by a group of girls. And mom said, "I'm going to go fight for my daughter." And the letter of the law held mama responsible because they were like, "Wait a minute, you took the law in your own hand, number one. And number two, you're a grown woman jumping on somebody else's kid now." So no. So,
Joe, let's talk about this. So we're talking about being responsible here, right?
Come on.
But a group of people have jumped on my 14-year-old daughter. I'm trying to say the right thing, but I'm just being
real. Say it what it is. See, because I'm
gonna say what it
ultimate,
is.
See, that's my ultimate question.
Well.
Let me how would I handle it?
Let me play it back. So I had somebody jump on somebody that was younger in my neighborhood. So just like in Happy Days, Fonzie was like, "I can't hit this kid. I'm not allowed to hit this kid, but I'm going to get my cousin Spike, and Spike can handle that." And I remember going to get my cousin Ronald. He calls himself Ron now, and he was the age of the kid. And I was like, "Okay, you want to pick on this kid? Pick on my cousin who can handle himself." Right. So at the end of the day, we are the responsible one and the adult at the end of the day. But there was a young lady that came in my house one time, and my daughter's moms had to jump on that girl because she came in the house and jumped on my daughter.
Wow. Well, now watch this.
So that, I mean, when I said she jumped on her, she jumped on the girl to stop her, but the girl didn't want to stop, so she had to put force on her. So when the cops came, and they talked. And they was like, well, they didn't see anything, so that they would have to take both down. So since the girl trespassed and came in the house, even if we wanted to press charges, everybody had to go down. So there was no charges pressed.
Right.
But it just depends on the circumstance. If a group of 14-year-old kids jump your child in front of you, you got to do any and everything to stop them from, you don't want to fight these children. But some of these 14-year-olds will jump on you. And once they jump on you, you have a right to defend yourself. So, I mean, we don't come from a people that turn the other cheek very easily. So, 14-year-old jumping on, and then the parents want to come and act crazy. Well, they better have better control of their children at the end of the day. And I'll tell you, if my daughter rolled up in a posse like that, then I would have disciplined my children. My children are adults at the end of the day.
Correct.
But and I'll say this one more quick thing. My daughter had a problem in high school, and she didn't call me. You know why she didn't call me? She said, "Daddy, when you come, you bring New York City with you, And I don't need New York City." She called a girlfriend. A girlfriend came out of school. And when she got there, the girls that came to jump my daughter, when they got there, and they said, I'm not going to call my daughter's name right now. They was like, "You called us up here for her? We know her." Man, please. Man, they didn't jump. You don't understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we got to do better. We talked about this before.
Correct.
But, nobody, ain't no right parent is going to stand by and let a group of kids jump on their child. But if they do jump your child, then there's ways of handling that situation, and you have to handle that in the most responsible manner as possible.
Well, and as we bring this portion of the show to to a climax, let's just be real about it. Different cities, different states, different municipalities have different rules of how to hold parents accountable for different things.
Mhm.
There are cities, states that will hold parents accountable if their children don't show up to school.
Of course.
That not only does the child wind up in a situation, but the parent has to then be before the courts or has to go to some extra classes,
Mhm.
or has to divvy up a fine or something because their child didn't show up to school. So and the reason I brought this up is because a good friend of mine keeps bringing up, and he says that he said you're going to hear it on Sharpton and some other, and I know you produce Sharpton show. He said watch, something like this is going to get taken to the Supreme Court, for example. And I heard this on your show with Sharpton and was wonderful. They were talking about the guy from Mississippi, from the cricket letter I, humpback I. So this is what got me. In Mississippi, they are they're stark. Mississippi is a red conservative state. And right now, the Roe v. Wade and the when is an abortion shouldn't be an abortion. Okay, so let me give my disclaimer. Here's my disclaimer. My disclaimer off the top is, and you can like me, leave me, hate me, or love me. I cannot tell a woman what's going on with her body. That's just me. That's me. Now you might not feel that way. You might feel totally a different way. And mind you, I think I have all the right to say that, being I'm an adopted child. I'm a child who mother abandoned him. I mean, she carried me all 9 months, birthed me, but abandoned me. Literally had me in the back of the house, cut the umbilical cord herself, wrapped me up in a newspaper in an old coat, and discarded me. But she had me, and it was her choice. She could have aborted me. That could have been her choice too. But it was her body, her choice. That's just how I see it. Even if that had been me, and you wouldn't be Grace right now with me being here in any shape, form, or fashion, because she decided that she didn't want to have this baby. But it's her body, her choice. Um, you know, to look at a state like Mississippi that will take it all the way to the Supreme Court to fight Roe v. Wade, but then you go and look at the statistics of once children are born, Mississippi is dead last in child care in the United States of America. So let me understand this. You want to fight for a child's right to live in a womb, but once they come out the womb, you don't care if they're in the worst deplorable conditions in the nation. That just doesn't come across right to me. Now that's what I'm saying. And kind of to go back to where we were at with the parents being held responsible, you know, if you're going to bring a child into this world, understand that once you take on that, you are accountable and responsible for what you have brought into the world until it is of age to make its own decisions and it is an adult doing its own thing. Even in the teen years, I consider that you should be accountable. And that goes for men and women. Some of us men need to be better fathers. Some of us women need to be some of the women, some of us men need to be better father, and some women need to be better mothers. Period. I mean, just period. I
I
mean, and
mean,
that's just where I'm at.
I didn't jump in on you because you said it all. You know, we don't have a right over a woman's body. I think I would like to have another conversation about this down the road,
Yeah, yeah.
because if this is, we got to see where this takes, where this goes, and how the country moves on this, and how the Supreme Court moves. Because with the conservatives there, with Trump getting more conservatives on the Supreme Court, and the way that they heard this case coming out of Mississippi, it seems that Roe versus Wade may be in jeopardy. But I don't know how the country is going to move on that. I
Right.
don't know if they're going
Right.
to sit down and take that with as ease. I think these conservatives, that these small group of conservatives that are in power, are pushing our buttons. And when I say pushing our buttons, it's not just black folks, but it's all folks in this country. And we are headed to a bad space. There's a article in I can't think of the magazine right. Oh yeah, the Atlantic, and it's talking about how Trump's coup, how the next time it may be different. If you think that January 6th, that insurrection is the beginning of the destruction of democracy, you're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself. Imagine that somebody comes in there with a Trump mentality, but has a brain and has a movement behind him or her. This country would be headed right back to a civil war. We will see things in this country we've never seen before, because some people are not going back to a time where they are subservient and they don't have a right over themselves. So I'm telling you, you tell women right now, I'm gonna support them. I don't give a damn what the Supreme Court says. I'm gonna support and I'm gonna stand with women and however they choose to handle this. Because at the end of the day, this is crazy what they're doing out here in this country. And then you could talk about a state like Mississippi is last in taking care of children, supporting child care. That's ludicrous. But it shows you the SOBs that are put in office. That's why, and it was said on Reverend Sharpton's show today by Reverend Waldron out of New York, First Corinthian Baptist Church out of New York City, Harlem. He said that we cannot get angry and not continue to vote, because they use those voting strategies against us, and then we're behind the 8 ball. So I know we get frustrated with the Democrats. We got to just, again, politics is local. We got to pick better candidates and get candidates that's not scared to get out there and do what needs to be done. And I'll tell you, the moderate Democrats, I know a lot of them. Yo, if you holding up crap, we're going to vote your asses out the way.
Right.
It's time for a different day. And that moderation ain't got us too far. Damn it. We ain't got a Voting Rights Act. You know what the Attorney General just said? As he brought a lawsuit against Texas about the gerrymandering yesterday. He said, Congress, get this Voting Rights Act in place. We can't sue every state here. So get your act together. That's the U.S. Attorney General saying this. Garland, get it together.
I mean, you know, the truth about it is the roosters, the chickens are all coming back home. we got to be real about this. Just look at what's going on. I mean, sometimes really ask yourself, and I had to sit down and talk to a very good friend of mine. And I said, here's the crazy thing. And we were talking about housing, adequate housing for people of color. It's like certain organizations that do adequate housing for people of colors. If you go into any city, start checking out the hood, and notice that the hood, now there might be a hood that's in the hood, but there might be hoods all over the city. But there's a part of the town that's known as the part of town that's non-hoodish. That's just not the hood. And people draw lines, and all of a sudden they want to say, well, we only do this or do that. At the end of the day, there are people everywhere that need help. And everybody that needs help, hold it. Let me say it like King said it, because I'm reading one of his books.
Which one? Let our folks know.
Hold tight. I want to get this. I want to get this point across first, because then I don't want folks say, well, what you're trying to do is hijack. It's really not you saying it. But he made a very valid point. Race is prevalent. Poverty is the bigger picture. Race is very prevalent, but poverty is the bigger picture, because folk being poor, and I think that's the new race now. The new race is that folks are poor, and you have the haves and the have-nots, and sadly, even amongst ourselves, there are those who will not deal with you or deal with what I call the greater good, or the greater good for all, because they just feel like, I live on this side of town. I live in this house. I make this much money. I drive this car, and I have this education, or I have achieved certain things
Mhm.
that makes me all of a sudden I'm not black anymore. Let me just call it what it is. Brother Fatim, I'm gonna back up for a minute before I get too deep here.
No, I want to know what that book name
Yeah,
was.
it's coming, bro. I'm gonna actually go get the book and show it where everybody can see, but they
Yeah, I mean,
won't
because
think I'm
because he wrote numerous books. Chaos of Community, Why We Can't Wait, Why We Can't Wait, Chaos of Community. No, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos of Community. Excuse me. Why We Can't Wait. I have there's numerous others, and I can have run down the list shortly on that. Um, I agree with you, Joe. At the end of the day, race is prevalent. Um, but you got to realize race is prevalent when racism exists. Every circumstance may not be a racial issue.
mm,
Poverty, as he was looking at, was the bigger picture because there was so many people, black and white, that suffered in poverty. And Dr. King felt that if we could deal with the poverty problem here in America, it would help heal some, not all, but some
correct.
of the issues that blacks and whites on the lower level were having, and maybe that they would be able to come together. The problem with Dr. King is no problem with Dr. King. Dr. King grew. He just was cut down at 39 years old, just like Malcolm X. Is that Dr.
Mm,
King realized that what he said in 63 and what he said in 68 was different. And when he talked about integrating a group of folks, black folks, into a burning house, he realized that some of these folks were just no good.
right,
See,
right.
the Nation of Islam called them devils, and if the term fit, I don't care. I'm not indicting a group of a whole race of people, but to me, there's no better word than that because some people will, like I said, serve in hell. They will rather rule in hell than serve in heaven. And
Right,
they will
right.
do any and everything to destroy the next man or woman. And that's what we're seeing with these folks of America.
Mm,
Everywhere we go, those folks that have helped conquer America,
mm,
they destroy everywhere they go.
mm,
Everywhere they go, they destroy.
mm.
I just don't get it. And that's why I said we got to have a lot of conversations. I want to have dialogue with a minister, but I don't throw no Bible at me if you can't talk some common sense of why we are in this way. Is this God's plan for us righteous people to suffer? When
Mm,
Moses said to the burning bush, "You don't hear my people?" Did you
mm,
hear what Moses said? You don't hear them people crying?
mm, mm.
He didn't ask that humbly. He asked that, yo, you don't hear my people. He got humble later, but you don't hear those people crying.
Come on, come on.
So I'm at the end of the day, I know we are strong people. We've gone through a lot, and I thank God for getting us through a lot. But I just try to wonder if me and my cousin, we talk about it. Is it part of redemption to suffer? Is it, Joe?
Come on, come on, come on. I mean, we're gonna do that. To be exact, since we're headed toward to be exact, the next show, we'll probably try to do this next Tuesday. I'm gonna try to get a panel of spiritual leaders, not just Christian spiritual leaders, but some spiritual leaders to get on here and let us talk about, spirituality. That needs to be another conversation that we need to start having amongst ourselves. Um and understanding is right and right don't wrong nobody. And at the end of the day, right and being right and righteousness should be a part of that community, that beloved community that Dr. King talks about, that we should hold in high esteem. That we should say, listen, because many a times we jump on the bandwagon with certain folk because certain folks are in certain positions, not because they right, it's because they're right for us. It's not because they're right. I watch people on the Trump train, people who jumped on the Trump train. I'm going to call it what it is. Now, you can say I'm anti Trump. I'm not. Because I've seen people jump on the Obama train with some things I didn't agree with President Obama. I saw some people jumped on the Biden train now with some things I don't agree with Biden. And I'm saying, are you really on this train because what he's saying is what's best for us, or is it what's best for you? Because sometimes what's best for you ain't what's the greater good for all. The only person who wins is you and the people that you rock with. And don't get me wrong, I understand winning is important in certain things, but sometimes you got to ask yourself, what's the best for all, for everyone?
Well, I'm definitely against Trump. Ain't nothing he can say. I've known Trump from New York, and when the truth is put in front of you, and you can look at the truth and still cannot acknowledge the truth, you an ass. You an
Right,
ass.
right,
You're
right,
just an
right,
ass. I don't give a
right,
damn who you're, president of what. I don't give a damn. You an ass.
right,
And what
right,
do I
right.
mean? Donald Trump took a full page ad out in the New York Times and other periodical newspapers here in New York City when the quote unquote Central Park jogger got raped,
Come on, come on.
and they talked about Wilden. And Donald Trump took out a full page ad about that the young black males that were arrested for this rape should be executed. That New York State should bring their death penalty back. Come to find out, these kids were coerced. They said they didn't do it. They was coerced into a statement saying that they did it. They're now known as the exonerated five instead of the Central Park five. They exonerated five.
Come on.
We were personally involved with that on our open line show at first at 98.7 Kiss FM. And we carried that torch over to WBLS in New York City. And now this information put in front of Donald Trump and said to him, would you apologize? This affects so many people, especially
Come
people of
on.
color.
Right.
Would you apologize that you was wrong? Oh, they must have did something.
Yeah,
That's what
now
make
that's
people
the
throw an
foolish.
egg at your
Hold it,
ass.
hold it. Now that's the foolishness. That's the foolishness. Ring the bell. Ring the bell. That's the foolishness. And you're right. That's where we have to start as a people. Start calling folks out on foolishness. Justice can't be just us. I keep saying that. You can go back and look at prior broadcasts we had. Anybody who knows me from media, when I've talked to certain folks and had certain interviews, I've looked people dead in the eye and I say, justice can't be just us. You can't tell me that we're the only people doing this. No, you can't tell me that. Justice cannot be just us. We just came through this craziness with Kyle Rittenhouse. Thank God that we had a different outturn in Georgia with Ahmaud Arbery. But still, there's going to be again and again and again something else, something new, and we've got to fix this system. Justice we can't have, and I've got to look and see where it was at. And the book is, let me scratch my head, because the book is Why We Can't Wait.
Why We Can't Wait. That's where he has the letter from the Birmingham jail.
Right.
In there.
So family, we can't have justice like the young Caucasian boy, and I forgot what city this was, that he raped all the girls. He goes before the judge and the judge says, I don't think he belongs in jail. What? What? Now, while we've got, and we were talking about folks who need to be certain places, like we were earlier talking about Barry Bonds, we were talking about A-Rod. You can also put Michael Vick in there. You can just see how justice is sometimes divvied out differently to different folks.
Michael Vick got more damn time
Come
than
on.
some cops shooting a black man or a black woman.
Come on.
So that's why I'm saying there's just an imbalance of justice in this country. Now, Joe, let me ask you a question without going into your background. Do you know the difference if you picked up a gun or a taser?
Oh, all day, every day.
Well, they just started that trial
Right.
where that police officer said that she thought she had her taser and she had her gun in her hand and shot that young youth.
And I'm lost on that. I'm lost on that because anybody who has any knowledge of gun taser understands if I'm right-handed, my gun holster is on my right side. My taser is normally on the other side, on my weak-handed side. So, I mean, once again, okay, let's just say, for sake of saying it, that she really did think that she had a taser. Still, you need to be held to a higher standard of accountability and responsibility because you are a law enforcement officer with the power of life and death in your hand. Period. And that's just where I'm at. Folks.
I just want to say this. That's the young boy, because we have to say every victim's name. Dante Wright and the police officer who is now an ex-officer is Kim Potter. Kim Potter. And they just started that trial this week.
Yeah, so we're going to see how that trial turns out. And we have to be honest with one another. I believe the following. Good people make bad mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And bad people can do good things. At the end of the day, depending on what happens and how the world turns, one doesn't necessarily wash the hands of the other.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you're a good person and you do something bad, that doesn't all of a sudden me can jump up and say, well, you're a good person. No, you did something bad. And because whatever you did bad, you need to be held to an accountable level of whatever it is you did bad. Just like if you do something good and you're a bad person, I need to go ahead and give you credit. I might say, oh, well, that's a bad person, but they did do this and it was right. See, the problem is we try to make things wash things out. I say that all the times with relationships. When people say, when people talk about infidelity, it seems to be infidelity when a man is cheating on a woman. It's a lot different than when a woman is cheating on a man. I had a conversation today that made me laugh when a person I got a lot of respect for, a woman said, well, he had to do something to make her do that. I'm like, what the hell? I said, so let me get this. Anytime a woman gets caught slipping, she didn't really get caught slipping. You did something to make her go out there and decide that, no, we have to be honest with one another. Anytime you do something, you did it because you may not have weighed the cost of what you were doing, but you did it because you wanted to do it, period. And that's where people really need to start being real with one another and stop trying to come with this flim flam to try to make themselves feel good. I give them that fuzzy feeling like, oh, but I tried to do this, but look at what they did to see. They get me when people say that. Look at what so-and-so did to me, but you stayed. And then they come out and try to be super slick with it. Well, I stayed because I was hoping that sooner or later this person would come to a place. Wait a minute, you knew what you had the moment that you had it. Good people make mistakes. Bad people do good things. They shouldn't wash out each other. You should hold people accountable and responsible for whatever it is that they did. We got to stop with the foolishness.
I mean, I agree with that. But it comes a time when you hold a person accountable for it and you deal with it.
Right.
But if it's going to turn into a damn lifetime,
right,
then hell with it.
Hold it. Watch this. And some folks need to wake up and say, this just ain't going to work.
That's it. Because I ain't going to be buried in no doghouse for 8 and 12 and 13, 14, 20 years. I told a person I know, and I was very straight up with them for team. I told the person, listen, I see that you're upset. I see that you're disappointed. I know that what happened. Here's your choices. You find a way to forgive. You may not forget, and you move on. If you
Or
can't move on, then let them know that. Don't say you moved on and
right, right,
didn't really be able to get over it, and
right,
then
right,
throw that years up in their face. That and
right. And
I
if you
get passionate because I
and
walked in
right,
them
hold it.
footsteps, man.
Hold it. And if you can't do that, then you just got to say, we got to charge this one to the game.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
it. That's
irreparable.
it. That's
Right.
it.
Sometimes you
Gotta
got to look at
roll.
a
Gotta roll.
situation and say, guess what? Just like sometimes when you look at your job, when I see people who do this number, they turn in their 2 weeks notice at a job, and all of a sudden the job says, well, we'll raise your pay. Well, whoa, wait a minute. You needed to raise my pay before I gave the 2 weeks notice. So hold up. All of a sudden now you see my value because I'm leaving. Hell to the no. You should have saw my value before I got to the point to start looking for somewhere else to go. Period.
That's it.
Period.
That's it.
I'm just saying.
Know your value, baby. You got to know your value.
I'm just saying.
I'm
just saying. Okay, so Rhonda said something. I had to post it. She laughed out loud. She said, honestly, honesty does not exist and accountability does not have a place in society. Sad, yes. Yes. This I am going to do to get right. Right. People want to get even. People don't want to be right. People want to be popular.
So let's talk about that. So you want to get even. So all right, here I talked about this a long time ago, and I told somebody a long time ago when we were just talking about men and women, and we were just saying, just for just speaking, Joe, we was like, okay, men, men do certain things. Some men, it's not a broad brush. So women say, oh, men cheat. So man cheat on me, I'm gonna cheat on him. If he's a cheater, you ain't getting him back. You can cheat on him all you want. You ain't gonna beat him at his own game. I keep telling people that. You think ain't no way of getting even.
Right.
Unless you're gonna take the person out.
Right.
You ain't gonna beat a person at their own game.
Come on.
And why play those games? If he cheated and you upset and you feel you're gonna cheat back, this is gonna keep going back and forth to somebody either get up and knock somebody else aside their head, hurt someone, kill someone, or do you walk away? You just got to know your own value. That's all to it. And what you're going to do.
You got to know your worth. And here's the thing that you really got to do. And most people can't do this. Most folks won't do it. And they only do it when they hit rock bottom. You got to understand that you come with your own amount of BS to whatever you're doing. People always see the fault in everybody else, but never see the fault in themselves. That really gets me when I sit there and I know a person who done did as much dirt or more dirt than the person that they're talking about doing dirt. And that's where I say right there, that's where the problem is. Guess what? Sometimes you need to keep your mouth closed because I said it earlier in the broadcast. We all got secrets until we get caught. And then when you get caught, all of a sudden folk looking going, I can't believe so-and-so. I never say that because I have learned in these small 54 years of me living that guess what? Anybody will do anything. Never say what you don't think a person would or would not do because you really don't know. Hell, sometimes you don't know what you would or would not do until put into that situation. I'm just saying. We got 8 minutes left, man. I know you got to get ready for the tangy tea. And let me hold up. Let me stop and do this because my sponsor's going to really get mad at me. Listen, family, if you like what me and Fatim do and you want to do the same thing, check out my good people at StreamYard. They do a great job of actually hosting podcasts like this and video podcasts. There's a lot of places you can go, but one of the places I highly recommend is StreamYard. They do a great job. You can check them out at www.streamyard.com. Find out if you too would like to do a video podcast like Fatim and I do every Tuesday. And this is not the only thing we do. Tomorrow, I know Fatim has the open lines. I have Wellness Wednesday. Fatim is going to be leaving here in about 7 minutes and headed to the tangy tea of life. And you can check that out. Really great conversation. And that's what I love. I love that we, as people of color, are coming out with our own platforms where we can talk about issues that are important to us, where you don't have to hear what you normally hear. Look at what's going on in mainstream. Prime example, CNN. there is a Como that's no longer on CNN.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But I just say the Tangy Tea is a little different from the formats that folks know me from. We get
Right.
a little raunchy over there because it's real about relationships and people's
Come on.
circumstances, situations, and we got to talk real. And because we
Right.
sit up here and talk politics and write on for the brothers and sisters, because that's what we believe in. But there's relationship issues that we have to talk real about, and sometimes we have to get grimy with it because that's how it is. And if we don't talk real, then how do we teach our children?
Right.
Do
Come
we
on.
do we
Come
do
on.
what some of our parents did? Kept the parent stuff in one room and kept the kids in another room? How do you teach your children? How do boys learn about sex?
Come
Do their
on.
fathers teach them how
Come
to
on.
treat a woman, how to dine a woman, to treat a woman, how to make love to a woman? Do fathers do that? Or do they fathers just to say, well, you know what, they'll learn?
Right.
Or leave it to the school system?
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, and I agree with James C. Vincent just said. Truth hurts. Truth
Yeah, it do.
hurts because it's hard pills to swallow sometimes. But
Mhm.
the truth, I was watching, what's his name? Kevin Samuel. And I
Okay.
know he's rough on some women and been black women. But some of the women that I see that's on there, they seem not to be so sure of themselves. So I don't know on that. But he puts out very simple questions and common sense on certain things. I mean, I can't support everything. I don't agree with being disrespectful to another human being to make a point. I'm
Come
not
on.
I'm not going to sit there and lift Kevin Samuels up on that level. But on the other level, when you listen, I like to listen to some of his questions, and I listen to some of these sisters that babbled with it, and it's like, do you know what you're going after? Do you understand? You want a brother making $400,000. He was like, how many percentage of black men in America make $400,000? And what do you bring to the table?
Right.
You just think you're gonna bring your looks? You think you're gonna bring your looks to the table?
No. Let's just be real about it.
Let's go, baby.
A lot of women, and we'll take this up on either the next one or the one thereafter. A lot of folks believe what they bring to the table is sex. It's intimacy.
Anybody can bring sex to the table.
But a lot of folks feel that way.
Mhm.
And the craziness is it depends on what part of the United States you live in, how some portray that. It's really funny to me. Some women actually raise their daughters by example and tell that, I've seen folks laugh at nerds in their younger years and want to roll with the ball player or the dope dealer because that's who's popular, that's who's this, that, these, and those. And then, we got to talk about this later. We don't really have enough time, and I'm not going to go down this slippery slope until I get some other folks on here where we can really have a real conversation. But we have not been able. You know what? We were supposed to talk about how you gonna close 2021 out, and
we got time. We got time for that. We got a couple
hold it.
more weeks before 2021 closes. So
we'll talk about that later.
Unless Putin goes into
Right,
Ukraine, and then we got to go to war or something.
Yeah,
then I don't know when we're gonna
right,
we may close
right.
2021 a little before.
Right. Let somebody, starts pushing buttons and bombs start going off and all that good stuff. But listen, family, we got 3 minutes left, and we want to tell you once again, thank you for tuning in to another Community Conversations, myself and Fatim. Fatim, tell them all the stuff you got going on. I'm going to tell them what I got going on, and then we're going to roll out.
Real quick, I'll start with the Sunday morning open line on 107.5 WBLS in New York, WBLS.com, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Jennifer Jones Austin and myself hosting On Air, the open line on air show, and then from 9 to about noon or a little longer than noon, open line online is on WBLS Facebook page. You can go to WBLS 107.5 NYC, one word, no dot in between there. And you can see us talking there on Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All my times are in Eastern Standard Time, folks. Same thing, WBLS Facebook page, open line online. And then Tangy Tea, I do Tuesday nights after this show when I am in South Carolina. I join them in the second hour, which I'm going to run in the studio right after this. And then Thursday nights, Tangy Tea of Life. And you just can go to Tangy Tea of Life on Facebook. You can go to my Facebook page, Brother BRO, no dot, BRO, space for teen, FATIYN. And you can watch there. All right. That's what I got going on, Brother Joe. Oh, and of course, I produce 2 nationally syndicated shows for the Reverend Al Sharpton, Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton, and Sunday Morning with Reverend Al Sharpton.
Yeah, and definitely check those out because Reverend Al is my dude. Of course, family, I do this community conversations with Brother Fatim. Tomorrow night, I will be on because your mental health does matter, and it's Wellness Wednesday. And I have great conversation with Brother Edward Brown from Positive Choices Counseling Service. We've got a new show coming very soon where we're going to talk about business and politics because I think many a times we don't understand business nor do we understand politics. So that's going to be coming soon. And as you see, the all new website is up and running. www.the100blk.com. You can listen to some great music. We have the best from the 80s, 90s, 2000, and today, along with we have an inspirational arm for those of you who love the Lord and all you want to do is listen to inspirational gospel music, which is Praise 100. So both of those are combined on the same website with a lot of great information. We got sports, HBCU sports. We've got clips and snippets from prior community conversations. We also have for those of you who are Southern University fans, you know, I help co-produce and do the sideline reporting for the Jaguar football show. So we have that on there. We've got events on there. We've got tech and gaming because I happen to run a gaming website too. So you know, we doing a lot. So don't think that we not out there getting it in because we are, and we love for you to be a part of all that we do. So go to the100blk.com. We're all up in there doing what we do for the culture. So, family, I know Fatim's got to go. I
just want to say one thing, Joe.
Come on,
quick.
Close it out, baby.
No. This is not one thing I forgot.
Okay.
I also produce for the National Urban League.
Okay, you do. That's true.
I forgot. I produced two podcast shows. And usually Tuesday night we do every other Tuesday. Justice Now, hosted by Jerica Richardson, who is the senior vice president.
Wow.
Over there. But what happened is one of our guests had a family emergency, so we pushed to tomorrow. So go to Instagram Live, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's about 30 minutes to 45 minutes. Go to National Urban League on Instagram Live, 6 p.m., and you'll get a chance to see Jerica Richardson with our guest Mary Pryor to talk about the business of marijuana, because folks it's business, but are black folks getting left behind?
Come on.
In this business, you know, not only left behind, there's a lot of people that have records because of marijuana, and there's people sitting in jail because of marijuana, and they need to be let out, and their records need to be expunged.
That's very true. So, family, we are here for motivation, information, inspiration through conversation, because you can't go if you don't know. And we're here to put you in the know, not to tell you how to think or what to think, but to tell you to research it for yourself and begin to think. We up out of here. Peace, love, and hair grease. Catch you tomorrow night. Catch you next Tuesday. We out. Peace.